PureDogTalk. I'm your host, Laura Reeves, and I am joined today by David Haddock at the Westminster Kennel Club. And David is in charge of the obedience at Westminster and sort of came up with this idea, yeah?
Well, I would say it's a joint project between our president and me. He asked me to do it, and I moved forward on his suggestion.
And you did it. Good job.
It works really well around here.
And so we talked to John Cox, your obedience judge for this year, and we talked about the round one, round two, you know, and I love the idea that this is like almost figure skating, where you have your essentials and your fancy part. What are they? There's a name for that, I'm sure there is.
Well, some people call it freestyle.
There you go.
I'm a little hesitant to do that because what we
quite.
try to do is incorporate all the traditional obedience exercises within this creative venue, so that we're giving our exhibitors a chance to be a little bit creative and show how quickly their dogs can respond to their commands that are based on traditional training. The thought behind that was that some people would be reluctant to train their dogs outside of normal regulations and the normal competition, so we wanted to allow them to compete here and yet not deviate from the normal.
Okay, and they're setting up the ring behind us. You get your own dedicated ring. You have a couple dozen entries, and the round two is the creative part.
Very creative. The first part, for people watching, first round will be very traditional obedience. It'll be scored very much in traditional obedience. Second round will be difficult to judge, in my opinion. Talk about subjectivity. There'll be a lot of that tomorrow.
And I think that's one of the things that's interesting to me, because the difference typically between obedience and, say, confirmation is that obedience is you're scored and there's no subjectivity. It's you do the exercise or you don't, whereas confirmation is a very subjective piece. So I think this is kind of an interesting component to add that little bit of a layer of judging.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that for the most part. When you get dogs that are as creative and as obedient as the ones that are here, I think there's always an element of subjectivity in sorting those dogs out at the top, particularly here, because what you're going to see is really, I think, what John will be judging tomorrow not only is beyond the required elements of each of the second round, but looking for a true rapport with the handler and the dog. Very important.
My favorite part, the joy. He's supposed to be judging the joy of the partnership. I love that.
I love that too. I mean, after all, companion dogs are supposed to be an enjoyable part of the family.
Right.
These certainly are. And these dogs travel all over with these handlers. Most of us in the dog game know that. But these are truly amazing dogs.
And I'm very excited to watch. We'll be having coverage tomorrow. What would you recommend for our listeners at PureDogTalk? What would you say if you're here at the Piers? When's a great time to come and watch? When do you start that round two?
Round two starts at 1 o'clock. And for those who might spend a lot of time in obedience and wondered a little bit about the breed, we'll be having Dog Show 101 as an intermission. So that'd be an interesting change-up, and I'll be involved in that as well.
And I love Dog Show 101. The other thing I wanted to mention really quickly, David, I think this is so important. Talk to us about the funding that goes to the Kennel Club that is associated with the winner.
Well, you know, Westminster has a long tradition of supporting peripheral causes of dogs,
right?
Veterinary scholarships and a number of other things. And what we want to do is give back. And so we decided that $10,000 this year for our winner, both in agility and obedience, would be given to a named AKC club of the Handler's Choice.
I just think that's amazing to offer that opportunity to the clubs, not to the individuals, to the actual clubs that are working with the public, working with our exhibitors. I think that is just an incredibly generous offer from Westminster Kennel Club.
Well, I do too. You know, we're on a world stage, but we have to remember that most of our dogs who come here start not only in a family and a home, but oftentimes because of a club or a parent club who supports them, and we want to be a part of that.
And so those handlers actually designate that ahead of time, right?
No, they don't.
No, okay.
But we'll be interested to see who gets those monies tomorrow night.
Excellent. Thank you so much, David. We really appreciate your time.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.